We have with us Chairman of Indian Oil Corporation, Mr. Sanjiv Singh. Thank you, sir, for joining us. So, what was the inventory loss in Q1 FY18? Please tell in dollars per BBL.
Let's start with the absolute numbers. We had an inventory loss of nearly 4,042 crores, and we had a GRM of $6.44 per barrel. This is discounting, or this is after negating the inventory loss. If we consider the inventory loss also, then the net GRM was around $4.32 per barrel. So roughly $3.1 per barrel we had inventory loss.
Okay, you have a GRM of $4.32 per BBL in Q1 FY17, which was down because of inventory losses. So, can you tell us what you might do for the rest for FY18? What will be the outlook?
You see, if we look at the performance, if we look at the GRM or the financial performance of refineries, they heavily depend upon the physical performance and the margins which we get out of the products and crude prices. If we compare this year versus the first quarter of the previous year, this year, although our net GRM was $4.32 per barrel, last year we had $9.98 per barrel. But last year we had nearly 7,400 crore of inventory gain during the first quarter. As against that, we had a nearly 4,000 crore inventory loss this year. If you discount that, so this year GRM was 6.44 and last year GRM was 3.56. So in terms of physical performance, I think all the refineries did extremely well. In terms of crude throughput, we did a record throughput of over 17.5 million tons. In terms of specific energy or other performance parameters, the refineries did extremely well. We all know that the country has switched to BS4 from the 1st April this year, and all the refineries today are producing 100% BS4. Considering this switchover and the high crude throughput, I think we did extremely well.
Okay, that was my question, that how has the upgrade of petrol and diesel to BS4 been for the refinery? So,
I think let's not bother about refineries. Let's look at the market. We are able to feed the market, we are able to meet the demand of the market, and while all the refineries are producing. So I think it's a proof in itself that all the refineries, not only Indian Oil, but all the refineries in the country today are producing BS4 successfully.
Okay, and government is planning to create an integrated company in exploration, refinery and petrochemicals. Do you think it will benefit the downstream industry?
It should, because if you look at the world majors, who are in the oil and gas sector, these are all predominantly integrated companies, and they are very strong in upstream also. Because the margins traditionally had been more in upstream activities rather than downstream. And the kind of fluctuations we have seen during the last 3 years, it makes a lot of sense to have an integrated company. But within India, we had been operating slightly differently, because there are strong players in upstream, there are strong players in downstream. So let's see. It's a good opportunity, and we are looking forward for evaluating it further.
How are you seeing the movement in crude oil prices?
It's going up and down.
Are the current levels good for the company?
You see, if you kindly understand, if you look at from the company's point of view, for the profitability, what is more important is the crack between the product and crude. But when the crude prices were very high, then also we were doing okay, but the working capital requirement goes very, very high. When the crude prices fell down, it was not only good for the company, but it was extremely good for the country. The country could, we could deregulate the diesel pricing, we could do so many things which otherwise would have been difficult. So looking at it from company's point of view is entirely different. Looking at it from national point of view is entirely different. The low prices are definitely good for a country like India, which imports majority of its oil requirement. We import nearly 80% of our requirement. For a country like this, I think it's a good thing. The prices had fallen down up to $35 in past, and today it is hovering around $48, $50, close to $50. They are likely to be range bound. We can't put a finger or put a figure for this that okay, they'll be at this level. I think they'll remain in a range because of recent changes during the last 6 months or 7 months. We have seen that this range has slightly gone down. So let's see. It's extremely difficult to predict the exact prices. There are a lot of factors which are deciding crude prices. But at present level, I think the oil companies in India, and we are fairly settled with this kind of price range.
Singapore GRMs have significantly moved up. Do you think it will sustain?
I can't. You see, Singapore GRM again, it's a theoretical GRM. It's for a standard configuration of a refinery and predominantly indicates the pricing, the impact of pricing on the refinery's GRM. So we had traditionally, our refineries had been fairly close to Singapore GRMs, and many months we operate above the Singapore GRM. But except for the month when we see drastic changes in the crude and product prices. So probably that those months it's not very accurate or very correct to compare our performance with the Singapore GRM. Otherwise, we are fairly close to Singapore GRM.
Okay. Has the government communicated you to raise kerosene prices by 25 paise?
We have received communication from government to permitting us to increase the kerosene retail price by 25 paise per fortnight. We have done that.
Will it have a positive impact on the company? How are you seeing it?
You see, today the subsidy is provided by the government of India. This is true for LPG, domestic LPG, and this is true for PDS kerosene. The government is 100% compensating us towards these under recoveries. And so if the government is reducing the subsidy, I think it won't have any impact on the individual company's profitability. And apart from reducing the subsidy, the government has, in fact, before changing the subsidy, the government has taken a lot of actions along with OMCs to increase the LPG penetration in the society. So I think before we even thought of doing any change in the subsidy, for more than a year, I mean, there is a lot of work which is going on to increase the LPG penetration in the country. I think it should be seen from that angle, and there is kerosene demand as such is drastically going down in the country. So if we see both the things together, I think what is happening is probably in the right direction.
Okay. And on Paradeep refinery, I would like to ask, this was the one full operational quarter for the refinery. What was the utilization rate?
Although I do not have the exact numbers immediately with me.
Okay.
But for the last 2 months, I can share with you the refinery is operating almost at 100% capacity, and during the first quarter also it must have been 80% plus for the quarter.
Okay. Is Indian Oil likely to acquire the government 66.13% stake in Oil India?
I mean, it's too early for me to give a straight answer to this question. But as I said earlier, I mean, this is one such opportunity which might be crucial and which might be important, and we are definitely open to evaluate such opportunities in detail once this is offered to us.
Any timeline when this will happen?
I can't say, because it is government stake which the government would try to sell. So, but I don't think there is any fixed timeline as of now, and probably, I mean, these are crucial and important decisions also. So, I mean, all the prospective stakeholders would like to evaluate in detail before taking a final call.
Why is the refinery and petrochemical complex in Ratnagiri stuck till now? It has been 7 years the plan was drawn.
Kindly, I think there is, I can't talk about 7 years, because I think it's hardly 1 year before that all three companies decided to work on this concept. Individually, different companies were looking at West Coast refinery options. Indian Oil was also looking at it independently. I am sure other OMCs might have also been doing the same. So probably 7 years might be starting for some individual concept in this regard. But as far as the JV concept is concerned, I don't think we even thought about it 7 years ago.
All right. Thank you for talking to
Thank you.
Bloomberg.